Good morning, Dr. Mona, and greetings, of course, to all audience. Now in Ukraine, not only me, but many people start to think whether the United States of America is an ally of Ukraine or don't. Because a lot of statements from Donald Trump during last several weeks, including statement that President Zelensky is a dictator, that his rank is 4%, and of course, it was statement, but after the statement, we received the decision not to provide military aid to Ukraine, especially not to give Ukraine anti-rockets, so rockets that helped to us to destroy the Russian rockets that attacked Ukrainian cities and energy generating facilities. In that case, now before the meeting in Jeddah, inside Ukraine, there are a lot of talks. So whether it will be meeting with a country that want to end this war, but what actually the end of war means Donald Trump, probably in capitulation. And the question and the fear that under world peace, he means capitulation, of course, it seriously create a problem to Ukrainian society of interpretation of Donald Trump's state. That's why now, especially after yesterday's statement, when he said that for him it's easier to talk with Russia compared to Ukraine, so it's easier to talk with aggressor, with a victim. It's a question. State is pushing world to the third world war, so Ukraine have immediate response. Whether Donald Trump read the post from the Chinese embassy in Washington, that China is ready for all types of war if the United States wants this war. I think that rather his trade war is more likely to lead to third world war than actually Ukrainian actions. So that's
let me hear Mr. US ask you about the implications of Rubio's proxy war comment or statement, and how will that reflect on the future US-Ukraine relations?
Dr. Mona, for us, statement that it's proxy war, so it's a of state Russia versus state Ukraine. Now Russia invited Northern Korea troops. Of course, Russia says that they not invited them, but our soldiers captured Northern Korean soldiers, and it's not accident people. It's Northern Korea army, so it means that they actually participate in this war. It means that it's first of all Russia interest. As for current administration in the United States, we have such a feeling that their main purpose to accuse their predecessors, I mean Joe Biden and his team, that start this war. But as I said, start this war against. As for administration, there's a help to Ukraine to defend the same values that Ukraine have with the United States, but it was not a war between Russia and US. It's actually rhetoric of Russia. And that's another moment why Ukraine have a fear about relationship between Ukraine and the United States in the nearest future, because the United States current administration constantly repeat Russian accusation against Ukraine. So in such a situation,
the terminology, or this term, proxy war. What do you have on that?
As I understand, Mr. Rubio to say that Russia want to attack US, but they could not do directly. That's why they decided to attack US and Ukraine. Attacking Ukraine, it's a war versus the United States. Partially, I agree, because really, if you switch on Russian television, you will see that they constantly said that we have a war with the United States, and in Ukraine, it's manifestation of this war. But dying Ukrainian people, they destroying Ukrainian residential buildings, our energy generating facility, our plants, and saying that it's a war versus America. And now we hear from Mr. Rubio that proxy war of Russia versus the United States. But as I understand now, if Mr. Rubio correct, if it's proxy war versus US and the US administration change, probably Russia should stop this war, because they have absolutely other approach from the United States. But stopping this war, it means that there is not what Mr. Rubio talking about. That's why I think that we try to explain that the United States administration question whether the current administration understand that. Some politicians from Republican Party too, actually, from Trump party, explaining them that, guys, you know what is going on. You understand that it's not a correct information, and that's why, due to constant statement of Donald Trump, especially about money that they give to Ukraine. Yes.
It's not that I understand. These were the statements by the U.S. Foreign Secretary, and of course, this is how you describe the situation here. Let me go to another issue, which is in light of the ongoing bombardments. We've seen this exchange of bombardment between Russia and Ukraine. So there is any realistic path to a ceasefire in sight?
Mona, the problem that it's hard to talk about ceasefire with the countries that want to destroy you. And when some politicians in theory said that, oh, it should be ceasefire, unfortunately, it's only in the books. It's not in the reality. In reality, there is a war when one side wants to destroy the other. Ukraine wants to defend ourselves from Russia. Sometimes we do strikes in response, but let's be frank, we have no such a big military like the Russia. We couldn't like Russia in previous, only Ukrainian actually cities. And then actually said that, oh, it's our response. We don't have such weapons, and we saw it attack Russia too. That's why I think that, as sometimes the American administration said that Ukraine have no cards. Actually, we have not such strong, but cards too. And any gambling game always led to changing of the situation. It's happened in the world history for many times. I understand that the United States of America is a very young country. They appeared in the end of the 18th century. I don't want to compare that with other countries, especially with your country, with Egypt, when Egypt appeared on the world map and world institutions start to form in your country. But in world histories, a lot of times happen situations.
No, let me get this clear. When Egypt, excuse me, what?
Yeah, I want to say that we know the history of Egypt. We know the history of many European countries. It started many centuries ago, and they saw Egypt many thousand years ago. But for US, they appeared at the end of 18th century. That's why we have a feeling that the United States of America want to build absolutely new world and forgot about history.